and you've been very deeply involved in interfaith activities in your life. That's also part of your history. You were the co-editor of a book called Abraham's Children, Jews, Christians, and Muslims in Conversation. Now, in your lifetime, I would imagine you've seen radical changes in the relations between Jews and Christians, as well as with other groups, such as Muslims. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience and where you see all of this heading?
Yes. Well, I'm not on the latter, where it's heading. I mean, I have no idea. I'm not a prophet. But what's happened in the last almost 50 years, I mean, I can comment on. Because I remember when I first got involved, and I got involved simply due to the circumstances of my growing up. I grew up in a rather Christian environment. The first theologians I read were Christian, not Jewish, actually. So it was natural to me to be involved in interfaith relations. But at the time that I got involved first, it was very much a pioneering sort of enterprise, and looked at somewhat askance by people in the mainstream. When I finally, I haven't completely packed it in, but when it ceased to be my main occupation, it had become mainstream. Mainstream to the extent it was even being supported by governments, to my horror. Once the thing is supported by government, who knows what is going to be done to it. But, and it is terribly important. We are living now in a very much interconnected world. We cannot just live in a shtetl, in our own community. And we communicate with each other instantly across the world. I mean, I walk along the street and I see somebody that years ago I would have thought was quite mad talking. No, they're just probably talking to somebody in Australia or somewhere on their phone. I mean, we are so interconnected. And we have to learn to be world citizens. And part of that is to see beyond the almost pettiness of the individual religions and religious sects, and to see that we are part of one humanity and belong, in the traditional language, we are children of one God. So I think it's terribly important to reach what understanding can be reached between religions. And I'll just mention one experience that I had frequently when I was involved in international conversations. And you'd meet up with a number of people, mostly, let's say, Christians, just to simplify it. And you'll come into a room for a 3-day conference. And on one side, the Jews will sit, on the other side, the Christians will sit. And everybody's being very cautious. By the end of the 3 days, I could guarantee that you will have the liberals on one side and the traditionalists on the other side, irrespective of religious affiliation.
Fascinating. I know you've had interaction with people of many religions. What is your experience when it's not only Jews and Christians, but also Muslims, Hindus, Baha'i, whatever, whoever else comes to such a conference? Is it easy to find a common language or not?
Very easy, but it's different. Let me mention Muslims first. The difference between Muslims and Christians. With Christians, it is very difficult to get them an understanding of the role of halakha in Judaism. With Muslims, this is the first thing that is understood, the Sharia. We know we are talking a common language. So, and there are other differences like this. So, although, of course, there are differences all around, but I don't think the differences between the religions are greater than the differences within the religions quite often. That is Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Baha'i, where would come into the same category. Moving to the Dharmic religions, as some people call them, this is somewhat different. And there we often find we're talking in common, we're talking similar stories. Maybe we start there with narratives. Because obviously the concept of God can be rather different. Although it always turns out when you talk to Hindus, you talk to Buddhists, well, of course, there is the one behind it all. And this gets me to ask a lot of questions about our traditional sources on Avodah Zarah. What is Avodah Zarah? I don't know the answer to the question.
Yeah, well, that is a difficult question. And perhaps on that note, we'll leave our audience with some food for thought. Norman Solomon, thank you so much for this lively and enlightening conversation. I've certainly enjoyed it. I expect our audience will as well. Any last thoughts that you'd like to share with the variety of people who will be listening, Jews, Christians, and others?
Yeah, a very simple thought. I'm getting old. Probably a bit older than I expected to be, but there we are. This happens in the course of time. And with age, certain things change, and one mellows. And I think I've probably become much more tolerant of different views within my own religion than I was at an earlier stage. We don't understand anything. Human understanding, when you're young, you're going to put the world right. When you get older, well, I'll just do my bit. When you reach my age, I'd be lucky if I can put a little bit of myself right and find out something or other which is true. Thank you.
Thank you. Shana Tova and Shalom.
Shana Tova.
Great.
Tomorrow I will change my mind about everything.
What Bible do you read? And how do you know it's the right one?
There's only one version of the Bible, right?
It might surprise you to learn that Bible translations led to many versions of Holy Scripture. Long ago, translators interpreted the Hebrew Bible, ensuring it would be enjoyed in many languages. But when they encountered Hebrew words they didn't understand, translators relied on their individual cultural context and used different words with different meanings unrelated to the original ones. This led to Bible versions that lacked the full, beautiful, original explanations becoming part of our history. That's why when you join our online classes, you'll get back to the source of the original Hebrew Bible to uncover hidden meanings.
Get back to the source. Join our online course today, where the treasures of the authentic Bible await you.
Click on the link and register to start your biblical experience.